This is the Khmer Times News. My name is Paolo Bornini, and these are your headlines. $1 billion crime's roots spread all the way from Singapore to here in Cambodia. Swine flu found in pigs has scientists very worried about a possible pandemic. And police are told to stop entrapping motorists just so they can find them. But first, our headline story. A criminal investigation in Singapore has been silently progressing for many years. The investigators have been slowly stalking their prey, and they are compelled to use extreme caution, as the thieves they are trying to catch are in a different league to any normal gang. Not only are they violent men, but it is also the amount of money being moved. It is quite simply vast. It is, in fact, in excess of over $1 billion. And you can bet a few of your hard-earned dollars that the majority of that cash was made by international drug dealing. A Singapore money laundering case has exposed very serious ties to Cambodia. The 10 men that stand accused are from China, and quite incredibly, it was discovered that 9 of the 10 have been granted Cambodian citizenship. The accused businesses had business interests in Singapore, but these interests spread into Cambodia and way beyond. For this web of business networks was hugely complex, and that is the whole point. You see, if you are laundering $1 billion in illegal cash, you have to wash it. And that means to turn dirty cash into clean cash by washing it through numerous companies to make it look like legitimate earnings. The Singaporean prosecution successfully argued for the continued detention of all the men, citing alleged links to global crime gangs. But it was not the size of the bust that shocked Cambodia. It was the fact that 9 out of 10 of the Chinese nationals were in possession of Cambodian passports. And if all that was not enough, it is said a local bank in Cambodia was reportedly flagged to having ties with the scam operation back in 2022. And it's here that we see the murky waters certainly seem to go very deep indeed. And trust me, this is really bad. And a retired banker has echoed this very sentiment when he spoke with us at the Khmer Times. And he said it's not the 9 suspects that his main concern, but rather the implication of a Cambodian registered bank being involved, which has him extremely concerned, as the ramifications for the local banking industry could be very adverse indeed if the bank is connected with other financial institutions in Cambodia. Putting it simply, what he is saying is this could be really bad news for the reputation of Cambodian banks. And if, and I would like to repeat there, if any are involved in any way with money laundering, it will create a huge issue. You see, banks are built on one central pillar and one alone, and that is trust. You trust your bank to be fair and to be honest. Because believe me, nothing gets investors running away from banks faster than when it is discovered they have broken that sacred vow of honesty. So, how do you feel about the word pandemic? For most, that single word now brings a cold shiver to their bones. So when I tell you that a recent study has just revealed that for the past 15 years, there has been numerous swine flu strains circulating in the Cambodian pig population undetected, it may well fill you with horror. It certainly is of grave concern to many scientists, for it was not that long ago, before COVID-19, we had H1N1. Back in 2009 and 2010, H1N1, more commonly known as swine flu, killed up to 570,000 people. It ravaged not just those affected with the disease, but farmers worldwide. So the discovery of these new strains here in Cambodia is a matter of grave concern.
Scientists have made a very significant discovery, identifying several previously unknown strains of swine flu viruses that have been circulating quietly in the Cambodian pig population for over 15 years. This finding raises grave concerns about the potential for a pandemic. Pigs play a crucial role in the emergence and spread of influenza viruses between animals and humans. Their unique biological characteristics make them the ideal hosts for the exchange of genes between avian, swine, and human hosts, ultimately leading to the creation of a new virus and maybe a brand new deadly pandemic. As many of you know, pigs, remarkably, have many biological similarities to us humans. And with pork production increasing worldwide and with the trade of moving both pigs and pork around the world, the risk of a pandemic now has been greatly heightened. The research team collected thousands of nasal swabs from pigs in 4 provinces in Cambodia over a 2-year period, and what they found was shocking. They discovered that approximately 2% of pigs tested positive for influenza A virus. The director of Emerging Infectious Diseases program at Duke NUS emphasized there is a very significant threat to humans due to our complete lack of immunity against any new strains. And it is that lack of any immunity that could make this very deadly. And after C-19, the last thing that anyone wants is the return of H1N1.
Let us now have a follow-up story, and this one, I think, will have you crack a smile of joy, because the municipal chief of police has heard the barrage of complaints from those living in the capital. A torrent of complaints, in fact, from citizens of Phnom Penh that are very upset with the less than professional way traffic police have been issuing traffic fines. What I refer to, of course, is the way officers for years have been hiding in corners, behind bus stops, and even in bushes, and then leaping out in the middle of the road, so they may relieve you of some of your cash in the form of a fine. Many motorists have described the officers as a plague, and citizens are thoroughly fed up with this kind of behaviour. Well, now, the police chief himself is also fed up.
The Phnom Penh Municipal Police Chief, Major General Narin, has ordered all district traffic police officers to stop the practice of hiding and then jumping out on unsuspecting drivers so they could be fined for violating traffic laws. He himself has said that the activities of these police officers are contrary to the national police professionalism, and added there has been a lot of criticism from the public about this kind of behaviour, and it affects the honour and the dignity as well as the reputation of the National Police. The residents of Phnom Penh are quite simply fed up with this behaviour, and he has heard their complaints, for he went on to say, "I instruct all the 14 districts' police chiefs to tell their officers to stop this activity because it looks very bad on the police. This activity of hiding and capturing drivers is not professional." But he also added that he called upon road users to respect the traffic laws, and that is more than fair. We at the Khmer Times spoke with a taxi driver who operates out of Phnom Penh, and he said it was about time. He said, "We have been complaining for months that officers were not concerned at all about public safety, only how much they could collect in fines, and the whole situation of officers hiding in bushes and behind signs had made the whole thing absurd." And he felt that the police themselves had lost an awful lot of respect from the general public. And he finalised by saying he now hopes they will act in a much more professional manner.
Now we turn to the economy. We don't often look to business news, but there has been some very surprising numbers of late. And it is quite the mixed bag. Recent reports show Cambodia's export goods have risen to $4.5 billion to members of the Economic Partnership. And that is in the first 7 months of 2023 alone, and stands at a 21% increase. And that is simply great news, a very substantial increase in exports. But not all is rosy in the garden of the green, as home sales have taken a staggering decline, or some may say have fallen off a cliff, as they are down an incredible 64.7% in the first 6 months of this year. And as we all know, house sales are a very good indicator as to the general wealth and health of a nation's finances. So, the question is there need for panic? As does this huge drop reflect the dire housing crisis in China? Or is there something else going on here?
The total amount of loans released by banks to Cambodia has increased by nearly 12% to over $45 billion in the first half of 2023. And rather interestingly, personal loans have slowed down to a trickle, with only 0.9% increase. Now that is a good thing, as there have been many numerous warnings from the central banking sector that some banks and microfinance companies have been way too liberal in lending money to people who could ill afford it. But the big standout in the recent numbers by far is the property sales by private firms within Cambodia. They have decreased by an amazing 64.7% in just the first half of this year. The price of houses themselves has not changed. There has been no jump in prices. It's just that people cannot afford to buy. Speaking to the Khmer Times, Mara Amara, the Senior Executive Vice President of Ecladia Bank, says the drop is a direct effect of the global economic slowdown, that and the rise in interest rates. But although the drop is big, and I mean really big, do not think for 1 minute this is anything like Evergrande or Country Gardens in China, those Chinese housing developers that are crashing to the ground, destroying countless lives as they declare billions of dollars in debts. This is a slowdown in Cambodia's market, and that is very, very different. This is a natural adjustment to the housing market due to global economic factors. It is simply a downturn. And for some that are looking to buy a new house, well, they may well pick up a bargain.
It's time to have a look ahead and see what the weather has in store for us next week.
Now, I don't want you to be too discouraged. Yes, there's rain across the board, but the volume is certainly increasing. Is the end of the rainy season in sight? I sincerely hope so. We're still getting high humidities and just very light breezes, but that rain has slowed down. And look at Friday. There's even a hint of sunshine being shown. So, hope is on the horizon.
This has been the Khmer Times News. Please do subscribe and comment and stay up to date with all the breaking news by following us on both Facebook and Telegram. This has been Paolo Bonini, and that was the week that was. I'll see you next weekend for your weekly Roundup.